Good morning. These people get paid to say good morning. Good morning. Welcome to NTAC. 400 of your closest friends and colleagues are all in one place. Other than my mom, I think all of my Twitter followers are in one room right now, so that's great. My name's Tim Preciato. I'm the interim president of the NTAC Network, and I'm just thrilled that we all have this opportunity to be here this week. I was in the elevator this morning coming down for breakfast, and there was another a new teacher in the room, and he told me that he said he was at teacher residency this year, and it was in March, and he was really excited, and then he had to go back, and the only bummer was that he had to spend 2 more months not doing NTAC and thinking about it, and that for the last 2 months he's been trying to plan and prepare, but he still had obviously the rest of the school year to get through. And today is the day where the fun begins. And we're excited to have you all here for this kind of joyous occasion in many ways. This is the first year that we're actually combining the training of brand new schools with our annual conference. So there are, like I said, 400 people here today. There's going to be another 400 people here tomorrow that are the new teachers at existing network schools, and an additional 800 people that are going to be here on Wednesday. That is a lot of new tech bodies in one space, and we are all really excited about that. Like I said, I've worked for the NTAC Network now for the last 12 years. 10 actually in the national organization. I was a school development coach. I've supported schools in the planning process. I've worked in leadership development. For the last 7 months, I've been in a senior leadership role. But when I think back over the last 12 years about my experience, the first 2 years as a NTAC teacher has profoundly affected my outlook on the impact that every one of us as individuals can have. I was a teacher at Sacramento NTAC High School, and let's see if this works. And this is actually the faculty and staff page from our yearbook. Funny story, I've moved 3 times. I lost all my high school yearbooks. I found the yearbook from Sacramento NTAC, probably tells you something about my experience in high school. But as I think about the experience of being a NTAC teacher, I actually don't just think about how it shaped my own professional experience, but how it shaped the experience of all the individuals that have been on that team. And what's amazing about that is that as I look at all the individuals, some of those folks are in this room. Some of them are teachers, are NTAC Network school development coaches and work for the NTAC Network. Some of them still teach at Sacramento NTAC High. Some of them have moved out of state. Some of them have moved into leadership roles. But what's really amazing about that is that by and large, almost every one of those individuals has been profoundly affected by the experience of working in that NTAC school. And my favorite part of the story, as much as this is profoundly personal for me and personal for those that worked at one of those schools, is that my favorite part of the story is that we're not the only people that can tell that story. Many of you have visited NTAC schools all over the country, and by and large, teachers at these sites tell almost the exact same story. So this year we'll have more than 167 schools in 27 states, 2 countries, 5,000 teachers, that many of whom tell that same story about the profound impact that this single opportunity has had on their entire career. We're in New Orleans, obviously, and we actually had a school here 10 years ago. I think this is the 10th year that we've trained new schools. 10 years ago, it was Paul Curtis and myself. There was a total of like 6 employees, I think, for the NTAC Foundation, which is now the NTAC Network at the time. So like 1/3 of the entire company goes over and trains the school. It's very different now. We did it in like a 3rd grade classroom with small desks, which was really fun for me. But what was amazing about that experience for me is I was 2 weeks after leaving Sacramento NTAC, we fly to New Orleans. We worked with this school, Patrick F. Taylor, which is still in the network. And there was a teacher there who at the end of the week said, I've been teaching for 23 years, and I've been a district curriculum coach, and I've worked, taught like 6 different, grade levels, and I've always been on the hunt, kind of searching for an experience where I can really have impact. And I kind of stopped and I thought, I have my own story about how this experience has shaped my life and my career. And it was in that moment that I realized that that same experience, the story that all of our schools tell about impact and being agents for impact in their own communities is completely replicable. And that all of you are going to be able to tell your own story. And that story has already started. Many of you have traveled together, you've gone through flight delays. We had leadership residency, the first one. I think only half the people made it because of snow and other things. So you get to tell your own story, and you get to kind of craft a future for yourself, which will be entirely unique. But more often than not, it's going to be grounded in the same type of experiences that many of our schools share. And I think that's really what is so powerful about our network that you are all now a part of. I mentioned, like I said, the theme of Agents for Impact. And you now join that group of over 5,000 educators that are really striving for a very different set of outcomes and to have impact in a different way. And so I want you to think about all week, one kid. Think about a small group of students that 4 years from now are going to walk across the stage in a room probably like this and have a very different set of skills and attributes. This is the student that I'm thinking about all week. Melissa was an intern for us in the NTAC network office. Our office is located near Napa NTAC, the first school. And just an amazing student with an incredible sense of drive and agency. She'll be attending the University of Oregon next year. And so all week, as you think about that one student or that group of students that you really want to find a way to reach, I think what's really important is to think about the skills, attributes, and experiences that you want those students to have, that you have ultimate control over, the settings and context for those students. So I want you to think, what skills do the students need to be college and career ready? What are those kind of core set of attributes that we feel all students need? What I'd like you to do is you can either tweet those to NTAC 14 or just shout them out now. Use your teacher voice. What are the skills and attributes that we want all students to graduate with to be college and career ready?
Self-directed learning.
She got paid to say that? Self-directed learning? What are other skills and attributes? Determination, collaboration. I need a hat. We actually have NTAC Network hats, by the way. It's great. What else? Leadership, right? Other skills? I was never good at wait time. That's why I taught social studies and not English. So we have, it's hard to compete with breakfast, especially for many of us that are still on Pacific time. We have a set of outcomes that represent a core set of skills that we want all students to graduate with. And in many ways, they're going to be the kind of glue that bind many of us together. We believe that all students need to graduate with a deep sense of knowledge and thinking about being able to think critically in a discipline. They need to have strong oral and written communication skills to be able to express themselves, their thoughts, their ideas. They need to collaborate. This one in particular, if you look across the network of deeper learning schools, collaboration, I think, is a particular sweet spot for this network, for our schools. We have a particular kind of flavor of project-based learning, which is almost entirely collaborative. Students need to figure out how to work with team members, many of whom they have just met or they don't like, or that who think very differently from themselves. That's a particular point of focus for us in this work, really because it represents what life after high school looks like. And the last one is agency, that focus around growth mindset, around kind of advocating for oneself. There's a real reason why it's agents of impact. It's that focus on agency. And we're really going to ask you to model that agency throughout the week. And it's really easy to stand here, especially as everyone eats breakfast, and kind of think about big, lofty goals. But I thought what would be great would be to share with you the story of some of our graduates. And so we have a quick video clip that captures graduates who've really developed their skills, abilities, and where the NTAC experience has dramatically shaped who they are as people and the potential for them to have impact in their own lives.
It's
14 years since I've graduated from New Technology High School, and most weeks I am either I'm like aware of like, oh, this is something that, like, I remember doing this with Mark, or I remember doing this with Paul Curtis, or I remember, you know, or I'm talking about it. I'm actively talking with people about why my education, my high school education, not my college education, was important, and like how this is serving me now. And that's rare. I don't think that there's too many educational experiences that a high school student can have that would impact them in that way 14 years later.
I think collaboration really gives new tech students a leg up on the competition. It gets you used to working together in a work environment. I feel like my new tech was kind of a well-oiled machine. We kind of just worked together, banded together to get everything done. We had communication skills and a good work ethic.
If I had to explain new tech to a stranger, I would probably tell them that it's a more real education. It's more real world focused, and you do projects to help you understand the content that you've actually learned. And what I think that helps is just makes things click so that you can actually understand what you've learned because you've applied it. So I think that's one thing that New Tech really focuses on is during project-based learning, really making things connect for students.
As I reflect back on our practice and what we've done, there are a lot of individual moments where that have been little victories or say, wow, that was really cool. But one of my favorites actually occurred recently with a project that I did with my seniors. And actually the project itself was focused on how can you make a difference in the community that has helped raise you, has helped support you all these years. At the end of it, I asked them to reflect on the process. Most of the students in their written reflections ended up springboarding into an overall reflection on their time at New Tech. The fact that they even went there was very cool. It indicated to me that we've developed a group of people who are reflective, just by nature. And a lot of them were able to articulate things like, this was my favorite project because it showed me how much I've grown since I was a freshman. And when I read that over and over, and again, I wasn't asking for that, but I saw that over and over again, I thought, we've done something that needed to be done. These students have the tools, the internal capacity to succeed and to impact their communities wherever they go, whatever that ends up looking like for them.
If there's one thing that new teachers or new schools can walk into this knowing, it's that it works, and that by simply being a part of introducing students to this new and dynamic way of learning, you are impacting them in ways that they will carry with them literally for the rest of their lives. I graduated 14 years ago, and as I said, I talk about this all the time. I trained my employees in the way that I learned in high school because it just works, because it was impactful. It is a part of who I am today, and there's nothing else that I experienced in an educational environment that even comes close to that.
What I love about that video is those students are from very different communities, very different states, very different schools, and have a common experience. And it's a common experience that all of your students have the potential to have because of the work that you're going to do today, and the work that you're going to do all week, and the work that you're going to continue to do over the next several years. And it's easy to think big and be trapped in lofty goals like college and career readiness for each individual kid. And I think the reason I shared that picture of the graduate with you is I think it's really important that all of you also think very small. It's the set of decisions and conversations that happen in weeks like today that you're going to look back on over the next few years that have shaped the experience for all of your graduates. So they're really important conversations to have. And this is really hard work. I said, this is 12 years of doing this, and I've had lots of different jobs. They even let me be president for the last 7 months. It was way harder to be a New Tech teacher. Way harder. And part of that is because every day staring back at you is a student whose future and path is going to be affected by your daily work. And so we're all going to have the ability to impact those students in much more meaningful ways if we find ways to do that together. And if you, as a collective group, reach out for help. And there are a lot of people here this week that are here to help you, that their sole purpose is to make sure that the experience that you have is incredibly impactful and meets your needs. And so I'd actually like to kind of have some folks raise their hand. We have a number of Train the Trainers here who are teachers at New Tech schools. If you're a Train the Trainer, raise your hand. Okay, we'll clap for them. They just came out of a New Tech classroom. They've got lots of war stories to tell and can really share with you some very meaningful stories about their own experience. We also have a number of New Tech Network staff. Have those folks raise their hand? Excellent. They're the ones that actually called out for when I asked for skills and attributes, so that was good. They're here to help as well. And we've put a lot of time and effort into thinking about what meets your needs. If we're not meeting your needs, please let us know. Exercise agency. But to get us really, to get us started on this week, I'd actually like to introduce two of my colleagues, Kelly Kamek and Starla Ross, who are going to get us started and get us going.